I'm not going to lie, it's a little bit weird meeting new people entirely virtually. Fortunately, it's a client I've worked with before, so I know some of them. But yes, a lot of my interactions with people are in these little boxes on a screen, and that's it. So I think there's a lot of things that you can do, and most of them are things you should already be doing when you're onboarding anybody, in fairness. But I think the big one is around the technology. So making sure that you have thought about the technology ahead of time, that you've sent your new starter laptops, mobile phones, anything they're going to need to be able to do their job, and that they have that to be able to start from day one, because technology is always one of the big stumbling blocks, even under normal circumstances. And that's probably going to vary. So if you're bringing on someone like me, you're bringing on a consultant, I'm going to want some really strong web applications, but I will use my own kit, and that was my preference. But if you have a permanent new joiner, obviously then they're going to want the technology to use and the laptops and everything else. So I think one of the things around that connected is expecting that day one is going to be tech heavy, and there are going to be issues, and they're going to have to sort all this stuff out. So being remote makes it very difficult to fix problems. So make sure you have everything set up, ready to go, and just accept that that's going to be a challenge that you're going to face and that you're going to have to overcome. And I also think one of the ways of doing this is having a really strong conversation with your new joiner before they start. Be really clear, checking in with them, seeing how they feel. Are they comfortable? Do they have any questions? I think it's quite difficult when you're new anyway to feel that you can be really honest and raise concerns. And now more than ever, people are going to have concerns about perhaps returning to a workplace, or how it's going to work remotely. So be proactive, ask those questions, let them know it's okay to have those concerns and to talk about them, because organizations have a responsibility to look after your psychological safety, not just your physical safety. And that now is even more important than I think it ever has been. Another point would be around expectations. So again, with anyone, anytime anyone starts, you set clear expectations about what you want them to do and what you want them to focus on. But you also need to be realistic. So being very transparent. I've seen clients say, we know this is going to be difficult for you. We know it's not the same as being in an office. Take the time to get to know people, have the meetings you need to have, take time to digest material. We're not expecting you to suddenly hit the ground running and delivering full pace straight away, but be really clear and say what you do expect them to do, because they're going to need that clarity when they can't just see you all the time and ask questions that they have. And that's also really important, making time to answer those questions. If you think about an office situation where if I have a question, I can turn around, tap you on the shoulder and go, oh, I've got a question, can you help me with that? You can't if you're starting virtually. So you need to let that person know it's okay to call me, it's okay to instant message, whatever it takes. Because again, they might not feel comfortable interrupting you every 5 seconds with a question, but you need to put that time in and make the effort. And another point would be around spacing out learning. So if you think about when you join, you either have e-learnings you have to do, you have to understand the part of the business you're working in, you're given a whole load of hopefully handover documents and notes and everything. It can be overwhelming, and it can be even more so when you're sat at home at your dining room table, as I am now, with a load of material and nobody to talk to about it. So agree with your new joiner. What's the best approach? Is this the right pace for you? Are you understanding what you're receiving? It's really about that constant contact and making sure you take the time to almost over contact them, because they're not getting the normal kind of coffee cooler moments that they get normally in an office. Which brings me to the final kind of big point around making them feel really welcome. Hopefully you have a lovely organizational culture anyway where this would happen, but making sure the basics, your team know you have a new joiner, all of their stakeholders know you've got someone coming in, they make time to talk to them. One of my clients did something really nice, which I loved. You had a web breakfast and a web brunch. So every single day, there was 15 minutes set aside at the beginning of the day and at lunchtime just to chat. And work sometimes came up, but sometimes it didn't. It was just a chance to catch up, check in, make sure everyone was okay. And it was something that everybody really did join into. So I think that's a great idea. You have to manufacture things that normally happen organically. They don't happen when you're not in an office. So make that time and connected. And the final point around daily catch-ups. So if you are line managing someone, you need to have a daily catch up, which is a check-in and not a check-up. I think that's really important. I'm not checking you're working. I'm trusting you, but I'm checking in to make sure that you're comfortable. And if your new joiner says, look, I don't need this much contact, everything's great, it's fine, you can adjust as you go along, but you should really overcompensate, because when you are virtual, it can feel a very isolating and remote time. So doing more is better than not doing enough.